Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast, this time talking about the pyramid at the end of the world. Yes, I know this podcast's a bit late, but forgive me. My netbook, that I do know almost everything on, took a tumble from the bedside cabinet and the hard drive died. So, I'm currently using, a steam-powered piece of kit to see if I can do anything, but that's not important. The panic about getting a new hard drive, that is important. But that's not what you need to hear about. What you need to hear about are my thoughts, feelings, and reactions to the pyramid at the end of the world. And you know what? Despite the fact that this is delayed, I haven't got a huge amount to say. Is it because it's part 2 of 3? I've not seen part 3 yet as I record this. And, I am old school fan. This is the Tin Dog podcast after all, home of received wisdom. So, I like multi-part stories. I always have. Of course, yes, I know you pay attention. You know that, of course, that I'm liking the single-part, very short versions on Big Finish at the moment, but that's also not important. So yeah, there are some wild and kooky theories, and as I've not seen part 3, I just don't know. Are the monks Cybermen? That whole open your mouth, speak, then close your mouth. Yeah, but lots of monsters have done that. Perhaps it's just a latex thing going on. My issue with the monks is that they wear orange. Bear with me. An orange monk is a Buddhist monk in my book. They're into peace, love, harmony. Perhaps that's why they're wearing orange, because to me, they're a bit needy. I was going to open this whole podcast with a few bars of You Love Us. That really popular, incredibly sung by the Manic Street Preachers. But that's not important. I'm also not going to do that because YouTube turn up and go, no, you cannot have other people's music. Or whatever the voice YouTube has. But they're wearing orange. They're into peace, love. And the monks, they're as needy as a boy band. Now, they don't actually look like that. They say that this is not how we are, this is how we see you. Very flattering, I'm sure. But as invasion plans go, they're very odd. They've got massive amounts of virtual reality technology. So what do they want from us? Are they emotional? Well, let's call them vampires, shall we? I know Doctor Who has a long and noble tradition of vampires, but I'm just not getting it. I mean, they actually say, no, that's not it. Because, as far as we're concerned, yes, it is. They have to be invited in, but it has to be on their terms. Doing things on somebody else's terms sounds suspect, but they are the villains, so they're allowed to act in suspect ways. On the subject of which, there's a word that seems to have annoyed a lot of American fans, and it's consent. Now, they've really gone for this in a big way. I don't know if it's a language barrier or if it's just something else. But in this country, it's just kind of a standard, you must consent, as in you must sign this release form. It doesn't have any dubious connotations, which seems to be what's coming from American reviewers. They're very up in arms. I wouldn't even say up in arms. They're very touchy about the subject, comparing the monks to groomers in a very almost sexual way. And I think we're just reading too much into this. The Doctor Who monsters, they are the baddies. They've got to want to invade or take over or dominate or something like that. And that's kind of it. And also, Doctor Who has a very long and noble tradition of using the current baddie of the moment and taking aspects from them and applying them and attaching them to monsters. Daleks are Nazis, etc. Cybermen, people have got body horror phobias and things like that. Whatever's of the time, and perhaps these American reviewers are right. And what these people want is love, because the villain of the moment, the big bogeyman, yes, you're putting two and two together, you've got it, you understand what I'm saying. So perhaps, because they're into peace and love, and I'm using the little rabbit ears around love here, that's why they're wearing orange. Perhaps I just found that a tad offensive. But you know what? Buddhists, like Christians, are big in forgiveness, so I'm sure it'll be all right. Now, I've been timing other podcasts to see how far they get in before they mention, hey, there was a little person in the show and it wasn't mentioned. But the fact that we mention it, that means that we've mentioned it. No, she was great. There you go. But also, she would have been a brilliant companion. I mean, let's face it, I've seen her in other things, and she always does a good performance. But it is brilliant that something like this can happen, and the only people who mention it are us, the viewers. Doesn't really affect the show. But you know what I said last time about the whole pixelated poster, where if you look too closely at something, it kind of shows up? Well, you know what I'm going to talk about now, don't you? Oh yeah, the keypad. It's just so damn clunky as a piece of technology. It looks like it's been made of stickle bricks or something. Now, I know if you're talking about prop departments and things like that, but of course they probably sat down at the production meeting and they went, right, the Doctor can't escape, there's going to have to be a keypad, and everyone knows that you can use a keypad without looking, because usually they've got 10 buttons, maybe 12. Ooh, and they usually start at 1. I mean, let's face it, how many people put their PIN number in without even looking? So it had to be a spinny thing. And yes, countless people have gone, oh, you could have used FaceTime, or how come the glasses couldn't detect numbers, and all sorts of other things. And I know it was necessary for the plot, so that Bill could then say, oh yes, I'll sign your weird forms because I'm giving over control of the entire Earth. The rest of the Earth obviously had a say in this. And so on. I know why it was there, but it just felt bad. Perhaps the writer had painted himself into a corner and gone, we've got to do this. But remember, that last episode of Sherlock had far too many puzzles and traps. Perhaps Moffat had out-puzzled and trapped himself. Yeah, perhaps that was it. Now, these monks who live in their pyramid, which admittedly could look like anything, oh, that's scary. And, of course, they're using it to distract everyone. All of these are really nice building up the narrative, building up the puzzle, building up everything, the interest in the author. We're all paying massive bits of attention, but in the end, it comes down to us going, yeah, it's part 2 of 3. Will it be the best part of the 3? Is it The Empire Strikes Back? Yeah, probably not. One thing I did like is that in the fantasy world, that's fantasy, the Pope turned up to interrupt the date. But in the reality world, the Doctor Who world, they voted for politician, the person who's supposed to be an actual leader, a leader with more impetus behind them, is the person who turns up in this world. It's not the Pope again. It's the person who runs the UN. Oh yeah, the UN, not UNIT. These were the Blue Caps, real proper Blue Caps. So United Nations Intelligence Task Force, no more. The UN soldiers are over there, UNIT soldiers are over here. Because, I don't know about you, but I did spend a large amount of the episode going, where's Kate? Seriously, she should be around here somewhere. Where is Kate? No, seriously, Osgood could have sorted this one out. She could have helped. She could have had a cough and a spit and given you, I don't know, some sort of crowd cheering punch the air moment when she helped find the lab. But then of course you've got to pay for the hiring of an actor. But are UNIT in it next week? I would hope so. That next time trailer is a little bit disturbing, despite the fact that my Sky Plus cut off just before it finished. Thank you, the football match. Yes, my love affair with football was never a strong one. Oh, hang on. Was non-existent. When football was bought by Sky Sports, I was very happy and prayed that it would all end up on a channel that I wouldn't have to pay for and it would just go away. That sadly never happened. Consumerism, you've let me down again. So, as I tell you these words, I can look out of the window and see a squirrel on my fence. The wind is howling. The rain is lashing down, because obviously it's June. And I'm going to press stop on this recording and go and watch part 3 of the Monk trilogy, where many of the things I've just discussed will be revealed to me, and I can share them with you. So until next time, be seeing you. That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.